Where uncertainty is the word right now that we seem to hear pretty frequently when it comes to the Milwaukee Bucks, as the future for so many remains up in the air until we know what that guy Giannis Antetokounmpo's future is. Bobby Portis recently went on the Nightcap podcast to give us some insight on how everyone's feeling right now in Milwaukee. Take a listen.
It's hard for us right now to have a conversation when the future is just so blurry.
Yeah.
The future is so blurry right now that right now, like I said, before, guys need to worry about themselves being the best they can be, coming back and trying to change the narrative about whatever, the media has put on them or the team, whatever it is. Because right now, bro, like you said, bro, like you just said, the owner said that by June, the draft, whatever it is, they're going to do something with Giannis, whatever it is. So that's
he moving.
Yeah, so the future blurry, so we can't really have them conversations until we know who on the team for real.
All right, so blurry is the word he used there to describe the future of the Milwaukee Bucks, as Ashley Nicole Moss is back with us. Your thoughts on what we heard from Portis?
I mean, it's expected. Yeah. It's obvious. I think that the head of the snake is Giannis. It's hard to make any decisions when it comes to roster. Who do you keep? Who do you not keep? Who can you help? Who can help you build a winning team? Until you know what your star player wants to do. And unfortunately, no one knows except for Giannis. I feel like this has been a perpetual circle. We've been going around in circles about this. I feel like since the trade deadline and beyond that, for years, it feels like ever since the Milwaukee Bucks won their first championship and failed to repeat, ever since then, it has been a conversation of, is Giannis staying? Is he going? I do think it's unfair, though, for the front office to drag their feet on this. We're going into June, and, with the draft coming up and sooner than that, you have Summer League, and then, next thing you know, it's training camp. I mean, the months move by very quickly, and for guys to not know, and for guys as agents not to know what conversations they can be having, where they should be looking, who should they be contacting, because they're kind of waiting for the other shoe to fall, is a little bit unfair. I understand why Milwaukee's possibly doing it. There could be 1 foot in, 1 foot out with Giannis, and I don't think they want to make a move until he's 100% sure. But I think Giannis also just has to hurry up and make a decision and figure out what he's doing.
As we kind of tie these Giannis rumors into what's going on right now in the NBA playoffs and how maybe that may affect some things, obviously all eyes right now are on Victor Wembanyama, and he's completely changed the timeline for San Antonio. Has his, though, playoff dominance maybe made every other contender out there feel the pressure to make a massive move potentially this offseason?
I mean, I think with Wemby, what we're seeing is what we've always known Wemby was and can be. I think that the Spurs still have a far way to go to kind of be that dominant force that strikes fear in their opponents' hearts. I think what we're seeing is the emergence of a real threat in the Western Conference for many, many years to come. Obviously, they're dealing with some injuries at the worst possible time going against the reigning champs and the back-to-back MVP, but I don't know if their performance has been so glaring that it's kind of making everybody else shake in their boots. I think what it is showing is that the changing of the tide is happening, especially in the Western Conference. And if you want to compete, if you want to contend, you have to have the players to do that, you have to have the roster to do that. But I feel like that has always been known. And I think that that's not something that necessarily Wemby and the Spurs have created. They might have just simply amplified it in terms of, okay, the timetable's here, we got to speed this process up.
And proven it to be true. It's actually legit, as you mentioned. We kind of knew this was the case. Continuing with the Giannis rumors, shall we? The Miami Heat continue to be one of the top teams linked to that name, as recent reports have indicated, but we have heard this time and time before. We were talking before we went on the show in the green room about this. I mean, but are you buying it this time around?
I don't know. I feel like Pat Riley had a really interesting quote at his closing statement, at his closing statements to the media. And he said something along the lines, we won 6 more games since we traded Jimmy Butler. That was a success. And that makes me a little worrisome about how much, how pressed the organization is to make a move to make this team more competitive, or do they really believe that existing in mediocrity is the way to go, and that in the Eastern Conference, as long as you have Heat culture, you have enough? I haven't seen the Miami Heat make moves since Jimmy Butler that makes me believe that they're going to put together a full-blown haul to get Giannis, because that's what it's going to require. Multiple players, draft picks, and then some, possibly a third team because of how much Giannis is making. And I haven't really seen the type of urgency, the type of killer instinct from Pat Riley in these past few years that make me think he's going to go after the biggest fish probably in the free market come the end of the season.
And also, we've heard about it time and time again.
I feel like if it was going to happen,
right.
it would, like, what are we waiting
That's
for?
true. So another team, the Celtics, reportedly inquired about Giannis at the trade deadline and are expected to do so again this offseason. I mean, should they be interested in Giannis, and would what they have to give up for him be worth it?
I mean, they would have to give up a lot less than Miami because Jaylen Brown makes money that's comparable to Giannis. It's the question of, do you want to give up on the tandem of Brown and Tatum? It is a duo that won a championship together. And it's a duo that many people still think can win more championships together. Obviously, this season was unfortunate because Tatum missed so much time with his rehabilitation of his Achilles, and then comes back and then has that unfortunate Game 7 situation where he doesn't play, and we all know how that went. But I don't know if Giannis necessarily takes what I think is already a championship contender and makes them, it's kind of hard to become more than what you already are, and they're already a championship contender. So it's interesting in Boston though, because the willingness of Boston to move Jaylen Brown, I don't think it would be because him and Tatum can't play together. I think it'd be because the relationship of Brown and the Celtics may have run its course. I don't know if I think it's there yet, though, so I'm kind of 50-50 on that.
Okay, last rumor, let's get to. The report suggested that the Lakers could potentially offer up to 3 first-round picks for Giannis in this deal. Could you see something like that coming to fruition?
I don't see this happening. They got to figure out what they're doing with LeBron first. They got enough issues in LA. I mean, Giannis has also made it very, very clear. Again, I don't know how much we can take this at face value. This is a guy who keeps coming in and coming out to this relationship. But he has made it clear that if he does leave Milwaukee, he wants to be on the East Coast. He wants to be in the Eastern Conference for things that are outside of basketball.
This would be insane, by the way.
It would be insane. This would be interesting. I just don't. You also have to remember you would have to convince Giannis to sign a long-term deal, and I think that's the other catalyst in this conversation. Is wherever he goes, whoever he's signing to has to have the belief that he would re-sign a long-term deal, and I don't know if the Lakers want to take that gamble or if Giannis would even be interested in signing a long.
Warriors Nation News. Dub Nation, let me ask you the question that would make the whole NBA freeze for a second. What if the one move that saves the final Steph Curry window is not a small tweak, not a bench upgrade, not another maybe this works gamble, but Giannis Antetokounmpo in a Warriors jersey? Because the second you picture Steph and Giannis on the same floor, the entire Western Conference changes. This is not normal star power. This is pressure from 2 different planets. Steph breaks you from 30 feet. Giannis crushes you at the rim. And no, let's be clear, this is not official, but the Bucks are again open to trade offers for Giannis ahead of the 2026 draft. And that alone makes this one of the biggest stories in basketball right now. Now, look at Golden State. The Warriors finished 37-45, missed the playoffs, and still doubled down on trying to compete by bringing Steve Kerr back on a multi-year deal. That tells you everything. This franchise is not backing away from Steph Curry. They are still trying to win now. They are still trying to find one more real swing. And that is exactly why Giannis makes so much sense. Steph is still the greatest gravity weapon in basketball. Giannis is still one of the most terrifying downhill forces the league has ever seen. So what do defenses do? Trap Steph, and Giannis gets a runway. Build a wall for Giannis, and Steph starts dancing into daylight. Add Draymond as the connector, And now you are not guarding a team, you are surviving a storm. That is the kind of pairing that does not just help the Warriors, it changes the shape of the conference. And think about the West. Oklahoma City has depth, Denver has Jokic, Minnesota has size, Dallas has shot creation, Phoenix still has talent. So if you drop Giannis into Golden State, the Warriors stop looking like a team hoping for one more run and start looking like a team nobody wants in a 7-game series. They become bigger, nastier, and way less dependent on perfect shooting every night. That matters in late playoff basketball. Now, yes, the price would be brutal. Any Giannis deal would cost real assets, real contracts, and probably real pain. ESPN has already laid out Golden State as one of the teams that makes sense in a Giannis race, but sense does not mean cheap. But Dub Nation, this is where I land, favorable to the Warriors all the way. If Giannis truly becomes available and Golden State has a real path, they should go all in, because moves like this do not come around often, and windows like Steph's do not stay open forever. Drop your take in the comments right now. If the Warriors had a real shot at Giannis, would you trade almost anything to bring him to the Bay? Hit like and subscribe to Warriors Nation News.